I'm going to bring in a colleague of mine in Parliament, Kerry McCarthy. Kerry.
Okay, thanks, Julie, and thanks to the previous speakers. I mean, particularly, I think Eliza just absolutely summed up what a complete and utter mess this is going to be. I'm fortunate enough that I am going to be able to speak in the debate this afternoon. But in terms of this particular session now, I wanted to focus just on one particular aspect, which a lot of people have mentioned in passing, which is the cabotage rules and how they affect hauliers. And that's partly because in my role as a shadow transport minister, it's very much in my brief. But also I think it, you know, while it's not the most exciting and obviously relatable part of it, it is really important. As Tim Brennan said in his opening remarks, and I want to thank him for constantly being in touch with me and DMing me and giving me extra information and putting me in touch with people. You know, we are all in this together. It's not just about the musicians, it's everyone involved in putting on tours. And that does include those who transport the gear, the sets, the lighting, anything involved in a gig from A to B. And actually, whereas with most of the haulage sector, you'll find that about 85% of the drivers that are involved in UK EU trade aren't actually from UK. With music tours and other events and festivals, you know, the concert trucks business, it's the other way around. About 85% are UK based, and we're often used as a stopping point for if someone like, you know, when some of the big American artists were looking to tour the EU, they'd often fly everything into Heathrow, and all the logistics would be arranged by UK companies taking them out into Europe. So it's really important. We've seen the impact that Brexit has had, you know, the actual end of the transition period has had on the haulage sectors. We've heard news over the weekend that UK exports are down 68%. We've seen the lorry parks and what's happening at Dover and Felixstowe. And all those problems are very real, and I would say were entirely predictable. But there's one aspect of the Brexit deal that's made it even worse, and that's the new road haulage rules, which basically say that whereas in the past you used to be able to do unlimited journeys from the UK to Europe and up to 3 stops per European country, and even that wasn't really tightly enforced, now you can do 3 stops in total. So that freedom of movement has gone. And for most UK hauliers, it's fine because most of them will pick up a consignment here, they'll drop it off somewhere and then come back with another load, although they're finding that increasingly difficult because of all the other barriers to trade. But generally it's a point-to-point business. But obviously for hauliers that are going on tour or they're servicing the festivals, they're doing events all around the EU, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. And when I raised this with the Transport Minister just after the deal was agreed, she basically said, yeah, she shrugged and said, yes, but it will be okay for most people. Well, we're obviously not here this morning to be worried about the most people. We're here to try to make sure that European music tours and other events can stay on the road. So there's a number of things that we're asking for as part of a cultural exemption for hauliers. So that's exempting events hauliers and their trucks from the return home rule for drivers, exempting them from the 3-stop rule, so they can only do 3 stops across the whole of the EU, persuading the EU to recognise the UK driver CPC qualification, because at the moment they're saying they're not, and then recognising drivers as part of the road crew when it comes to the visa issue. All those things we're pushing for. As somebody said, you know, it seems like there's been an exemption now for sport, so let's try and get that for the music sector as well.
Thanks, Kerry, very much. And I think the key thing there is, you know, this was all so predictable. It didn't need to be like this. That's what's so annoying about it. But we've just got to try and get the government to move and put it right, basically.